Next we'll get a chance to hear from the offensive side of the ball. We're trying to get one of our young newcomers on here, young quarterback, and Hank Brown. See if he's be coming on here with it real soon. People think that this kid is 6'4".
So I'm really high on Hank. He comes on my show a good bit, Jason. I call him the baby goat because I think he's going to be a really, really good quarterback by the time he leaves Auburn. But people don't realize how big he is. Yeah, 6'4". Right. He's got everything that you want, the moxie that he plays with. I'm very high on Hank Brown.
And Freeze is getting big quarterbacks, man. You look at Walker White, that was here for Big Cat weekend. He's another guy that's standing about 6'4", just a gunslinger. So, there's always, you can tell right now, he's creating competition in that room to help make it better. But you would think going into this season, though, it has to be Peyton Thorne and Robbie Ashford show, just until these younger guys can kind of catch on as well. So, looking at the quarterback overall battle going into Thursday, like, what are your thoughts on how this thing may turn out?
Yeah, and Hugh gave us a little bit of a preview of the timeline of what that could possibly look like at SEC Media Days up in Nashville. He said that he and Coach Montgomery, the offensive coordinator, they got about 10 days to go from 3 guys to 2 guys is what he said. And, you got to assume that third guy right now is probably Holden Geriner. We don't know that, but that's probably the assumption. But I'm with you. Yeah, it's going to probably come down to Robbie and Peyton. And they both kind of do different things, Jason, which makes this a little interesting. And when you ask Hugh Freeze what the offense is going to look like, he says he doesn't know. And a lot of that probably has to, depend on which quarterback wins the job over the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's the overall thing is you got only a limited amount of reps. And then you also have to have your offensive line to be able to be in sync with the voice of the quarterback. And, the receivers have got to have the chemistry and all of those type of things have to come into play. And there's a short amount of time to get ready because there's not 2 days like it was when I was playing. You have one live practice and the next practice is a walkthrough. So these guys have got to hone in very quickly and try to figure out who's going to get opportunities to play. But I do think, regardless, I think we see both guys early in the season gets reps.
Yeah, and it's interesting because that second game is at Cal, and how experimental do you want to be going across the country playing a Pac-12 team that's really going to want to knock an SEC team off? That's just how it is. We all know it. So, how experimental do you want to be as far as, giving certain guys, maybe more reps than they would maybe later in the season? It's going to be fascinating to see how they manage the quarterbacks early. I'm with you.
Yeah. Well, before we get to that, we got a hot freshman that just came in. Like I said, Hank Brown led his team 13-0 last year in high school. Actually played under a professional quarterback, Trent Dilfer, and everything. Can't wait to hear his story about, what he thinks about Trent, but who's now the head coach at UAB. What a turnaround for him. So let's hear from Hank Brown. Let's bring him on right now. I actually like the name Hank. Hank, how you doing? It's Jason Campbell. Doing
great.
Pretty
how
good.
Are y'all doing?
Sound like you out riding the coast right now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hank,
Hank,
go ahead, Jason.
Yeah.
So Hank, talk about, man, like, you're a freshman, you coming into Auburn. People don't realize like how big you are. You're a 6'4" quarterback and everything. And I haven't had a chance to just meet you personally up and close, but I have a chance to just read about you and everything. You led your team to undefeated in high school, 13-0 state championship. You played under a quarterback coach who's now a college coach. Just talk about your preparation and getting ready to come to Auburn.
Yes, sir. So obviously it was a huge blessing being able to play under Coach Dilfer. I feel like it was the best opportunity for me to be able to just, prepare me for this level. I think not many quarterbacks coming in at college level, I could say, get that opportunity. So I'm very thankful for that. And I know that as he's heading to UAB, I know he's going to do great things, but just being able to get coached by him and learn from him everything that he did. Like, he led our program like a college program. We ran it like a college program. So the transition from that to Auburn was made a lot easier, just being able to be under him and learn from him.
Hank Brown, the baby goat. As far as what you've been working on this summer to get ready for your first fall camp, what all have you been focusing on in that time?
Yeah, so I've been focusing a lot on the weight room, being able to build my frame, get a lot stronger, put some weight on, and then just kind of building chemistry with the receivers, just being able to work with them, pick their brains of how they're thinking and what's going on in each play. I'd say those are two of the biggest things that I've been working on this summer. And as far as the weight room, I was weighing about 195 in the spring, came in around 195, 200, and I'm weighing about 210 right now. So that's been something that I feel good about. I feel like they've really put some good weight on me, and the weight room has been a big part of that. So.
Yeah, a lot of your teammates come on the show, man. They all talk about the weight room program and, and how you guys have buffed up. Is the wellness kitchen part of this process as well?
Yes, sir.
I know they got
Definitely.
yeah. So see, Zach, a lot of people don't realize these guys can go up to the wellness kitchen and they can kind of pick what they want to eat and have it specially made. When I was in school, you eat what was in front of you. And so it was impossible for us to have a slick looking frame, like we're gonna have some, a little bit of a gut every now and then. But Hank get a chance to come in here and eat well. But Hank, just on the real side of things, you was committed to play with Coach Freeze at Liberty. And then once Coach Freeze took the Auburn job, you then follow him over to Auburn. Talk about your relationship with him and during your recruiting process and why you felt the need to continue to follow him to Auburn.
Yes, sir. So obviously, like you were saying, I committed to Liberty before all this happened. And so I've known Coach Freeze for a long time, and I've been able to build that relationship with him throughout that entire process. And we've stayed close throughout it all. And just one of the thing that I love the most about Coach Freeze is his authenticity and how honest he is with his players, how great of a person he is, and obviously great of a coach he is. But I just couldn't say enough good things about him. And that's why, as you can tell, people around Auburn are starting to see that because of the recruits we're starting to get. He's doing a great job with that. Right. He's a really smart coach and knows exactly the ins and outs of every part of coaching. So, it's been great being able to be close with him throughout the whole process and just, even though it's been a little chaotic, going from Liberty to Auburn, it's been good sticking by his side the whole time. And, I've had a chance to talk with Malik Willis a little bit about it. Okay. Obviously he played under Freeze at Liberty. And so I trained with him a few times before when I was in high school. And he kind of just talked to me about Coach Freeze and told me, obviously, he's someone who's going to get on the quarterbacks. He's going to be in your ear, yelling at you, telling you what to do. But he's like, that is a guy who wants the best for you and will get you to the spot where you want to be. So that definitely meant a lot coming from a guy who was under him and had a lot of success and now obviously at the pro level. So, yeah.
Yeah, Hank, his devotion to acquiring talent, it's been pretty impressive. We haven't really seen this at Auburn before, but, over 40 players are going to enter fall camp that weren't on the roster a year ago. You just talk about a totally different look, a totally different feel. Recruiting's a big part of that. So, what exactly is he telling these folks? Is it just the connection, or is he having to sell a type of a vision of what he wants to build at Auburn?
I think it's a little bit of a mix of both. I think that, he doesn't have to sell much because what he's telling them is the truth. And I think he's definitely giving them a vision of the future and telling them that this program really is going to be special because I believe that that's the truth as well. And so that's something that I think has been one of the big differences. Like you were saying, there's so many new people on the team through the transfer portal, with the freshmen, whatever it is. But, you can tell the vibes around the program we have a vision that we are going to be a dominant team. And that's something that, Freeze has kind of instilled in us, and that we all believe that. So, I mean, you can call it a vision, but for us, we really just see it as, kind of the truth. So, and that's something that the recruits obviously are starting to realize, and then also just being able to see Coach's personality and be around him. You don't need much more than that because of how great of a coach in person he is. So that's what I think why the recruits are starting to come in and will continue to keep coming in.
Hank, we see that you're multi-talented. You're operating and driving, and while you're talking, you're doing a good job not looking at the video until you come to a complete stop. Man, you're driving around Auburn, man. Are you looking for some food or something? Like, what are you going to get?
I just got done with my workout, so I'm heading back to my place.
Oh, okay. How far you got before you get to your place?
I'm pulling in.
Oh, you're pulling in. Okay, yeah. We just want to make sure, that because we know you're multi-talented, but we just want to make sure that, we don't want to see you pulled over or something.
Put him down as a dual threat quarterback.
Right, dual threat quarterback at this point. Like, the guy got he can make a sideways pass like Mahomes. All right, good deal. Good deal. Yeah. So, Hank, man, this is a really good episode because we get a chance to see the whole Hank. We get a chance to see the Hank driving actually from the facility, back to his place. Hank, as a quarterback, you come into a room where there's two veteran guys. You look at Peyton Thorne. It sounds like MTV Cribs, or you kind of, but so you come into a quarterback room. You got Peyton Thorne, and then you get Robbie Ashford and Holden Gurner's there and everything. As a young guy, the youngest guy in the room right now, how does it feel when you walk into that room and coach is saying, hey, it's an open quarterback competition? Do you feel like you're part of that competition, or do you feel like, hey, this may be a year for me to learn and kind of prepare to try to be the quarterback in the future?
Yes, sir. So I think that, the fact that it's an open competition, is there's always an opportunity to that for anybody. Mm-hmm. I don't think anyone's canceled out of that. But I think there's a little bit of a mix to that as well. Like, being to be behind those guys and be with those guys, just learning from them is a huge part, whether, I'm playing this year or in the future, whatever it is. I think that's a big thing. Like, for example, I get to sit in the room with, Peyton, who's been a starting quarterback for 2 years, and he's just so experienced and so smart when it comes to, defenses, whatever it is. So just learning from him and learning from the coaches, and as well as Holden and Robbie, just being able to hear their minds and get to see them pick apart defenses and coverages and whatnot. It's definitely been helpful a ton. But I'm a competitor and I'm always going to compete, so I'm super excited for fall camp and getting the opportunity to compete with them.
Hank, what stood out about Peyton Thorne? And I know you mentioned just kind of getting to learn from him, but as far as how he goes about his business and watching him to throw and just the process, what has stood out most about him?
I think one thing that has definitely stood out the most about him is his leadership. He is a very smart kid, and he knows how to lead well. And obviously he comes from a football family, so he knows how to do that well. So that's something that I'm trying to, just watch and learn from him as he kind of leads on the field. It's definitely hard for him because he's a transfer, so there's only so much. He can't come in and just lead the whole team. Robbie and Holden are leading as well. But he's doing a good job for what he can do. And that's probably the thing that stood out the most to me about him.
And Hank, you had a chance now to see a lot of these newcomer receivers come in since you've been here. What are some of the guys that you think that's really going to have an outstanding season just based on what you see from summer workouts and just out catching the ball on air?
Yeah. So from what I've seen about the receivers, I mean, we've got a bunch of studs out there. We got a few guys who are still recovering and getting back, trying to get back on the field. But I think that this year, two guys come to mind when you talk about having a big year this year, and I think for the outside receivers, I think Camden Brown's going to have a big time year. Just coming into his sophomore year after getting some experience in his first year. I think he's going to have a big time year this year. And then from the inside receivers, I would say Jay Fair. I think he's gonna come out this year and have a big year. I think he's got all the intangibles for it. So I'm excited to see both of them.
Hank, as far as like the throwing sessions go, are all the quarterbacks throwing to all the wide receivers, or how is that broken down?
Yeah, so we'll do throwing sessions that are player led, and so there's a bunch of different types of stuff that we'll do. Some of the older guys will throw to the older receivers, and then freshmen, we'll throw to our own guys. And that's just kind of on our own time. We'll do that just on our own time. But then when we do player-led stuff, we'll do some walkthroughs, and we'll all be throwing to each other, and then we'll kind of split up, and it'll be like the younger guys, and then the older guys will be on one field throwing with each other. So for the most part, we're all together, but at times we'll split up and throw with each other. So.
Yeah, you talk about this offense, it's going to be loaded with weapons. Just talk about real quickly, just Coach Montgomery, what did he mean for this offense? Like, as far as like just the ins and outs, just like being ready to be where you're supposed to be when you're supposed to be there type stuff. Like, what is it that you guys love about his offense?
Yeah, so I really like what he's doing with our offense, and just the fact that the thing that's special about it is, which has been a change for me coming from, high school to the college level, just the fact that the receivers have so many options. And, based on what the defense is doing, the receiver will make the option of what they're supposed to do based on what look they get. And so that's why, earlier in the podcast, I said it's definitely been big to kind of hear the receivers' minds and how they're working and how they're reading the defenses, because that's such a big thing for us quarterbacks to be on the same page as them, and understanding what they're seeing so we know exactly what they're doing, because, in the SEC, if you're late, you're screwed. So that's something that I love about his offense, and it's not too complex. Like he likes to keep it simple, but I like exactly what he's doing, and he knows, the perfect scenarios of plays and whatnot. So, he's definitely incorporating, when he was at Baylor and into what we're doing here. So I like it a lot, and I'm excited for this year to see how it's going to unfold.
Yeah, that's great here, Hank. Like I said, man, you're a multi-talented quarterback, and you get an opportunity to get here this summer, and and get a chance to go in and compete. I like what you said. Like, you understand that the older guys are ahead of you, but at the same time, the only way to measure where you're at is to go out there and compete. And what we like to do right now is getting quick 5 hitters. You want our newcomers. We know coming into this season, everybody can understand Auburn's traditions. Like I said, we like to have the War Eagle to fly before the games. We have the Roll Tumors Corner. We enjoy Tiger Walk, 90,000 people in the stands. What's the one tradition that you can't wait to get to and see this fall?
Yeah, I'd say I'm super excited for Tiger Walk. Like you're saying, like I think that's going to be such a cool experience just to be able to walk down that before the game and be able to see all the fans, because I haven't, fun fact about me, I haven't been to an Auburn football game. Okay. So, being able to, because I was committed to Liberty, and, I committed so late. I think it was like a few days right before signing day. So I didn't get that opportunity. And so just being able to, walk down that Tiger Walk, and then also, the War Eagle before the game. Just being able to see all the fans and, everyone says it's surreal, and, I'm just super excited for that.
So we had one of your teammates on here earlier, and we always ask guys about what they like to eat the night before games or, late night snack the day before a big game. Like, he likes pineapples. He enjoyed his fruit and pineapples. What's your go-to meal, night before a game or a snack?
Oh, that's a good question. Night before game, I'm not one of those guys that can't eat, before a game. I can stay on my same schedule and eat the same type of stuff, but I would probably go with a late night snack before a game. I would probably go with probably some cereal. At night.
Man,
yeah.
What kind of cereal, Hank?
I like more of the healthy type of cereal. I'd probably say Special K cereal.
Dude, I love Special K cereal. I'm all about that. I knew I liked you, Hank.
I tell you what, hey, Hank, I'm becoming a fan right now, man, of Hank, man. That's the first time I heard of somebody talk about they like some Special K cereal on this episode and everything. But hey, talk about which what's one word to describe you, Hank? Because I can see right now, man, there's multiple things, man, that you're going to bring to the locker room that's going to make it very energetic. What's one word to describe you?
That's a good question. I would say a leader.
Okay. Like it. Any special rituals that you do before a game or anything? Are you wearing the same socks, same dirty socks, same sweaty shirt from the week before, or is there anything you have?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say anything like that I do before a game, but before every high school game, what I would do is I would take about an hour of my schedule. Coach Dilfer would give me about an hour on the field just by myself. And I put some AirPods in. I listen to some worship music or some country music, and I just, have a whole script of, that game, and I just visualize, what's going on, what I want to happen, just going through my reads before every game, just spending about an hour, just, snapping the ball to myself, going through my footwork, looking at the guys I'm supposed to read, just visualizing, throwing touchdowns, whatever it is. And so that's something that I did before every single high school game. And that's something that, I don't know how it's going to work with our schedule here, but I would love to keep doing something similar to that, just to, it really helps me to get my mind right before every game, and just visualize. I think visualizing something in advance is very helpful. So I would like to continue that.
No, that's great. That's where it all starts at, man, is visualizing, making plays before you actually do it. Like I said, Hank, we enjoyed you coming on the show, man. I know you had a couple shows with Zac Blackerby, and you had an opportunity. If you ever want to mess with him, I've called him Zac Blackberry before.
He loves calling me Zac Blackberry. He loves
so, but hey, man, we look forward to seeing you on the field. Look forward to seeing you throw in action, and wish you the best of health and the best of luck in camp. And War Eagle, man.
War Eagle, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming on.
See y'all.
See you. Well,
big fan of
Hank Brown. Hey, I gotta say, man, Hank is multi-talented, and people that are watching, we did not think Hank was driving when he came onto the episode, so we do not want to entice people to do that. So he was running behind and was trying to get on here for you, and we was glad he was able to get situated and everything. But look forward to seeing what this young man can do and everything moving forward. We understand he's in a battle with some veteran guys, but the more you can learn as a young guy, the better off you in your future. So I look forward to seeing a little bit from Hank.
Yep, big fan of Hank Brown, the baby goat. I think he's got a very bright future ahead of him.
Yeah. So that does it for us today on the On to Victor podcast. We appreciate everything you do, listeners and followers, and continue to support our NIL. As you see, it is making a huge difference in our student athletes and everything that they have going on. So continue to follow us, continue to support, and stay tuned to the next episode. War Eagle.